If you were told that you had 4 hours to pack up your most important belongings before leaving your home for good, what would you take with you? If you had to choose one object to represent your most beloved family member, who's now separated by an ocean and living thousands of miles away, what would you pick? These were some of the questions explored by 60 11th grade students from Boston International High School, all of whom had recently immigrated to the United States in the past 5 years. English language learners represent the largest growing population in the Boston Public Schools, 28%, and that can pose a real challenge for educators. How do you teach students how to read and write in English when it's their second, third, or fourth language? And how do you keep them from dropping out? The U.S. Department of Education recently found that half of states are graduating less than 60% of students with limited English proficiency. I wrestled with some of these questions. I'm a former teacher. I taught in the Boston Public Schools and in the New York City Public Schools, and I'm now education director at 826 Boston, which is a nonprofit youth writing center, part of the national network of centers founded by author Dave Eggers. And today, we're going to talk a bit about one book project in particular, which was published with Boston International High School last spring. And we're going to talk about how this project drew out student voices and taught them invaluable literacy skills, and how it engaged them in writing in school. And then you're going to hear one story in particular, and you're going to have the opportunity to meet the author. So in the 2012-13 school year, 826 Boston joined forces with teachers Kristen Russo and Laura Gersh and their students. And we decided to publish a collection of student memoirs, all focused on objects of significance. The class had limited English skills, and most of the students had never been asked to write a piece of creative writing before, let alone publish it for a public audience. About half of them were failing English class. And they had powerful stories to tell. Bittersweet, often heartbreaking narratives. Stories about their home countries, stories about their passages to the US, and stories about the everyday victories and challenges of life. 826 Boston brought in a team of trained tutors. And very early on, we hit our first barrier. We heard a lot of, "I have nothing to write about." And we heard a lot of, "I'm not a writer." And as students started to brainstorm objects, we hit a wall. So they were coming up with all the same objects. We had a lot of teddy bears and BFF necklaces and charm bracelets and phones. And we needed to push the kids beyond the first thing that popped into their mind. We had to push them beyond what really is cliche, because that is what cliche is, the very first thing that pops in your mind. Why does it pop in your mind? Probably because you've heard it before, or because you overheard a conversation or you saw it somewhere else. So the students needed to dig deeper. And they did it with very persistent instruction from their teachers, and as trust grew with their tutors. And from there, the richer narratives started to emerge. The old computer keyboard saved from a pile of trash in an alleyway in the Congo. A Social Security card finally received by a parent who is frustrated and hardworking and depressed. A pair of feather earrings made by a father and given to his daughter just hours before he was killed in a bombing attack in their neighborhood in Baghdad. Today we're going to focus on one story in particular, a very powerful case study, Cassania Gilson, who is here with me today. Kasna is 17 years old, and she's a senior at Boston International High School. Kasna immigrated to Boston to live with her mother just months after the earthquake hit that ravaged her home country of Haiti. She had been living with her grandmother and attending an all-girls school. She was fluent in French and Haitian Creole and was learning Spanish and English. Often overcome by shyness, Kasna suddenly found herself in a new school, in a new city, in a new culture. And she had to work extra hard to learn English and to assimilate. And she faced a lot of questions from curious classmates about the tragic events that she had endured, but honestly preferred to forget. Not quite yet, sorry. Fast forward several months, and Cassania is a junior at Boston International. She and her classmates are embarking on the book project, and she's decided on her topic. And the story's pouring out. It's coming out, though, in disconnected fragments and tangents. So she sat down with her tutor, and they worked closely together. They created a timeline to sequence events. They plotted the points of her story. She also started to focus in on the relationship that she wanted to write about and really pay tribute to in her story. And from there, chose the object that emblemized that relationship, a pair of wooden shoes. With support, Cassania went through this piece and addressed grammar issues and clarified meaning, line by line by line. And now we're going to share with you her published story. This is Wooden Shoes, published in I Want You to Have This, a collection of objects and their stories from around the world, written by the 11th graders at Boston International High School.
On January 12, 2010, an earthquake devastated the small island of Haiti. As the earth shook, people were running all over the streets, trying to find a secure place. I saw a house that had fallen into pieces and plenty of people lying dead on the streets, some without a head, arm, a leg. My grandma and I had to leave quickly, so we only had time to take the most important things. I grabbed our cell phones, she grabbed a pair of yellow wooden shoes, and we went off. Two days after my 10th birthday, my grandfather gave me a pair of yellow wooden shoes. They were the weirdest shoes that I ever seen in my life. Aside from being yellow, they were enormous, shiny, and had large beaks. They also had flower designs on each side. They were very clean, therefore, they always had the smell of a newly bought thing. At first, I hated the pair of shoes because they weren't my style. They were not the kind of birthday gift that I wanted. When he gave me the shoes, I accepted them, but it was not a sincere acceptance. I threw them under my bed and went off. How could a 10-year-old girl love a weird pair of yellow shoes? However, my grandfather never gave up. He was extremely persistent and wanted me to know the story behind them, which he was truly proud of. My grandfather, Francis Gilson, was born in the Dominican Republic. When he was just 17 years old, his parents and him moved to Haiti. This wasn't easy for him, but Grandpa Francis was strong enough to carry his own weight. He was extremely strict with his family, but when he was with his friends, he was eager to have fun. He was compassionate, loved without limits, and appreciated even the smallest things in life. My grandpa used to live in the rural areas of Haiti. There was always a big lack of money in the family. About a year or so after my grandpa got married to my grandmother, Leonie Camille, things were going as well as he planned. Their 3 children were getting seriously sick, so every day for 15 years, he worked 2 jobs. He has worked as a salesman, but his primary job was being a comedian. He enjoyed entertaining people. He used to wake up at 5 a.m. every day, put his wooden shoes on, and then go tell stories or act in a play for a certain family. Even when he got paid little money, it was enough to put food on the table for his family. After hearing this intriguing story, I broke into tears. I went to my grandpa and gave him the biggest hug ever. He worked so hard to provide for the woman that he loved. I decided to use these shoes for my project. I was so excited. I went home and asked Grandma about the shoes, but she did not answer me. She looked as scared as my cat Mickey whenever he hears a thunderstorm. She has an innocent look, but whenever she does anything wrong, you will always know because she looks nervous. Having the feeling that she didn't hear me, I asked her the question once again, and that's when she told me that the shoes disappeared. I couldn't believe my ears. I was frustrated. I asked her, "How come you never told me this before? Pukisa, why?" Grandma replied, "I didn't want to see the reaction that I'm seeing right now." "My grandma, what happened? When did this happen? Parle avec moi, talk to me," I said angrily. She responded, "Calm down, honey, one question at a time." Tears started coming down her eyes. Her crying was contagious. I wanted to cry too, but I couldn't because my anger was stronger than my tears. I never truly knew where Grandpa finally gave me the yellow wooden shoes. After what I had to go through, I realized that a gift is not about its physical appearance, but about how meaningful it is to you. Although the shoes aren't physically with me, they are mentally a part of me. They remind me of how much sacrifices, struggles, and effort he made to provide for his family. In a country where you have to be thankful and appreciate everything given to you. When a gift is so important such as the shoes are to me, the only way that I can express myself is by writing about it.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce you to the author, Cassania Gilson.
I've always been writing since I was a little girl. I have piles of notebooks filled with stories. I used to spend my days writing 1 to 3 pages of stories about anything, but no one ever read them. I never thought about my work getting published. I was thrilled when I started writing my story for the book because it meant that I was given a chance to be heard. The earthquake hit Haiti on January 12, 2010, and I moved to the US 4 months later. I was frightened because I would have to adapt to a new culture and learn how to socialize with others. I was terribly shy. I could have conversations in English, but it was my third or fourth language. People could understand my writing, but it was challenging for me, and I made mistakes, of course. I had to work hard every single day to be on the same level as the other students who spoke the language better than I did. Moving from Haiti here to the United States hasn't been easy. As a young immigrant, I struggled to live in this country. My mother couldn't find a job, so my stepfather had to work 2 jobs to support both my mother and I and his own children. Yet, I am given so many opportunities. At Boston International High School, a school that is 100% English language learners, I am given the chance to be me. Writing a story in this book was one of my many achievements. When I was back in my home country, I never thought about being an author. Coming from a less developed country, chances like that aren't offered. In addition to seeing my story published, I was selected to be on the student editorial board. There were 13 of us. We met every Saturday and it felt comfortable to share our thoughts and to overcome our shyness. Together, we gave feedback to our classmates and we found themes that story had in common and organized the chapters. Also, we chose the line from a story to be the title, "I Want You to Have This." Alongside my peers, we became the ambassadors of a strong group of people. Now, I would like to share with you an excerpt from the student editorial board letter written by my classmates and me. At the beginning, we were a little afraid to start writing this book. Language is a struggle for us. Boston International Newcomers Academy is 100% ELL, English language learners. Also, bringing back memories of loss in transition was at times devastating, but it was worth it. We had the courage to write our stories and are proud of them. The authors of this book have come from all over the world to one school, and now we are excited to send our stories back into the world. This book is proof that with hard work, people with limited English skills can express their stories in words, and we hope others learn that too. Thank you.
So just to finish up, every year 826 Boston works with partner schools to publish books, and every year we add to our set of best practices. And I just want to share with you five of those lessons learned. 1, engage students in project-based learning in which the stakes are real. 2, set expectations sky high and believe in them. Push students farther than they think is possible. That is where transformation occurs. 3, lower the teacher-to-student ratio. Flood classrooms with trained volunteer support. 4, publish student writing as beautifully and as professionally as you can, and then showcase those voices and celebrate them. And 5, sometimes the most poignant stories are buried. This can be particularly true for students who've had exceptional, extraordinary life experiences, such as recent immigrants. To help these young people get a sense of place and to engage them in school, these can be the stories that most need to be heard. So keep asking questions and keep listening. Thank you.